హాయ్ ఫ్రెండ్స్, ఈ వీడియోలో మనము గ్రూప్ 1 మెయిన్స్ సిలబస్ని డీటెయిల్గా డిస్కస్ చేద్దాం. సో మెయిన్స్ అనేది ఒక రిటన్ ఎగ్జామినేషన్. సో ఇందులో మనకి ఫస్ట్ జనరల్ ఇంగ్లీష్ ఉంటుంది. ఇది ఒక క్వాలిఫైయింగ్ టెస్ట్. సో ఇంగ్లీష్లో క్వాలిఫై అయిన వాళ్ళకి మిగతా 6 పేపర్స్ రాయడానికి ఎలిజిబుల్ అవుతారు. సో ఇంగ్లీష్ అనేది మనకు 10th క్లాస్ స్టాండర్డ్లో ఉంటుంది. ఈ ఇంగ్లీష్ యొక్క స్కోర్ అనేది ఎక్కడ బెనిఫిట్ అవుతుంది అంటే, ఎవరైనా ఇద్దరు పర్సన్స్కి మెయిన్స్లో సేమ్ మార్క్స్ వచ్చాయంటే వాళ్ళ ఈ ఇంగ్లీష్ యొక్క స్కోర్ చూసి వాళ్ళని ఇంటర్వ్యూకి క్వాలిఫై చేస్తారు. సో ఇందులో ఫస్ట్ స్పాటింగ్ ఎర్రర్స్ ఉంటుంది. స్పాటింగ్ ఎర్రర్స్ అంటే స్పెల్లింగ్ మిస్టేక్స్ కానీ పంక్చువేషన్ మిస్టేక్స్ కానీ ఉంటే వాటిని స్పాట్ చేయాలి. నెక్స్ట్ ఫిల్ ఇన్ ద బ్లాంక్స్. ఇందులో ప్రిపోజిషన్స్, కంజంక్షన్స్, వర్బ్ టెన్సెస్ యూస్ చేసి బ్లాంక్ని ఫిల్ చేయాలి. నెక్స్ట్ రీరైటింగ్ సెంటెన్సెస్. సో యాక్టివ్ వాయిస్ ఇచ్చినప్పుడు ప్యాసివ్లో కన్వర్ట్ చేయడం కానీ, ప్యాసివ్ వాయిస్ ఇచ్చినప్పుడు యాక్టివ్లో కన్వర్ట్ చేయడం కానీ ఉంటుంది. అలాగే డైరెక్ట్ అండ్ రిపోర్టెడ్ స్పీచ్ కూడా ఏది అడిగితే ఆ దానిలో కన్వర్ట్ చేయాలి. నెక్స్ట్ యూసేజ్ ఆఫ్ వొకాబులరీ. నెక్స్ట్ జంబుల్డ్ సెంటెన్సెస్. సో ఒక సెంటెన్స్ని ఇంప్రాపర్ ఆర్డర్గా ఇచ్చేసి దాన్ని కరెక్ట్ ఆర్డర్లో రాయమంటారు. నెక్స్ట్ కాంప్రహెన్షన్. ఒక పారాగ్రాఫ్ ఇచ్చేసి దాని కింద క్వశ్చన్స్ అడుగుతారు. నెక్స్ట్ ప్రిసైజ్ రైటింగ్. సో ఒక పెద్ద పారాగ్రాఫ్ ఇచ్చి దాన్ని చిన్నగా కుదించి రాయమంటారు. నెక్స్ట్ ఎక్స్పాన్షన్. సో చిన్న పారాగ్రాఫ్ని పెద్ద లాగా రాయాలి. సో అక్కడ వాళ్ళు మెన్షన్ చేస్తారు ఎన్ని వర్డ్స్ని ఎన్ని వర్డ్స్లో కన్వర్ట్ చేయాలి అని. నెక్స్ట్ లెటర్ రైటింగ్. సో మనకి ఫార్మల్ కానీ ఇన్ఫార్మల్ లెటర్స్ కానీ రాయమని అడుగుతారు. సో ఈ ఇంగ్లీష్లో క్వాలిఫై అయిన వాళ్ళు ఎస్ఏ పేపర్ అండ్ ఫర్దర్ జిఎస్ పేపర్స్ రాయడానికి ఎలిజిబుల్ అవుతారు. సో ఫస్ట్ పేపర్ 1 ఈస్ జనరల్ ఎస్ఏ. సో మనకి మొత్తం 3 ఎస్ఏస్ రాయాల్సి ఉంటుంది. సో మనకి ఇక్కడ 3 సెక్షన్స్ ఉంటాయి. సెక్షన్ 1, 2, 3. సో ఈచ్ సెక్షన్లో 2 డిఫరెంట్ టాపిక్స్ ఉంటాయి. లైక్ సెక్షన్ 1లో కాంటెంపరీ సోషల్ ఇష్యూస్ అండ్ సోషల్ ప్రాబ్లమ్స్. నెక్స్ట్ సెకండ్ ఈస్ ఇష్యూస్ ఆఫ్ ఎకనామిక్ గ్రోత్ అండ్ జస్టిస్. మనకి 3 క్వశ్చన్స్ ఇస్తారు ఇందులో. సో ఈ సెక్షన్ నుండి 1 క్వశ్చన్ రాయాలి. సెక్షన్ 2లో కూడా డైనమిక్స్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియన్ పాలిటిక్స్, హిస్టారికల్ అండ్ కల్చరల్ హెరిటేజ్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా నుండి 3 క్వశ్చన్స్ ఇస్తారు. ఇందులో నుండి కూడా 1 క్వశ్చన్ కంపల్సరీగా రాయాలి. సెక్షన్ 3 డెవలప్మెంట్స్ ఇన్ సైన్స్ అండ్ టెక్నాలజీ అండ్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ అండ్ హ్యూమన్ రిసోర్స్ డెవలప్మెంట్. సో ఇందులో నుండి కూడా 3 క్వశ్చన్స్ ఇస్తారు. మనం ఒక క్వశ్చన్ రాయాలి. సో ఇలా 3 క్వశ్చన్స్కి ఈచ్ క్వశ్చన్కి 50 మార్క్స్ ఉంటుంది. టోటల్ 150 మార్క్స్ 3 hours రాయాలి. పేపర్ 2 వచ్చేసి హిస్టరీ, కల్చర్ అండ్ జాగ్రఫీ. సో ఇందులో డీటెయిల్గా చూడాలి సిలబస్. ఎలా అంటే ఫస్ట్ టాపిక్ హిస్టరీ అండ్ కల్చర్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా విత్ స్పెషల్ రెఫరెన్స్ టు మోడర్న్ పీరియడ్ 1757 to 1947 AD. సో ఇందులో డీటెయిల్గా సిలబస్ చూస్తే ఎర్లీ ఇండియన్ సివిలైజేషన్స్ లైక్ ఇండస్ అండ్ వేదిక్, ఎమర్జెన్స్ ఆఫ్ రిలీజియస్ మూమెంట్స్ ఇన్ 16th century BC, జైనిజం అండ్ బుద్ధిజం, ఇండో-గ్రీక్ ఆర్ట్ అండ్ ఆర్కిటెక్చర్, గంధారా, మధురా అండ్ అమరావతి schools, social and cultural conditions under the Mauryan and Shatavahanas and Guptas, advent of Islam and its impact on Indian society, nature and significance of Bhakti and Sufi movements, contribution of Kakatiya and Vijayanagara rulers to language, literature, art and architecture, the contribution of Delhi Sultans and Mughals to language, literature, art and architecture and fine arts, monuments, emergence of composite culture in the Deccan and India, the establishment of British colonial rule in India, Carnatic wars, Battle of Plassey, Anglo-Mysore, Anglo-Maratha, Anglo-Sikh wars, economic impact of British colonial rule, land revenue settlement in British India, commercialization of agriculture, rise of landless agrarian labor, famines and poverty, deindustrialization, decline of traditional crafts, drain of wealth, growth of trade and commerce, economic transformation of India, railroads, transport and communication network, telegraph and postal services, anti-British uprisings, tribal and peasant revolts in the 19th century, causes and consequences of 1857 revolt, factors responsible for the rise of the Indian nationalism, rise and growth of socio-religious and anti-caste movements, Brahma Samaj, Arya Samaj, Aligarh movement, Satyashodak Samaj, Jyotiba and Savitri Bai Phule, Pandit Ramabhai, Narayana Guru, Ayyankali, Annie Besant, Non-Brahmin, Justice and Self-Respect movements, Periyar, Mahatma Gandhi, Ambedkar and others. Three phases of Indian freedom struggle, 1885 to 1947, the rise and growth of All India Kisan Sabha, workers and tribal movements, issues of gender and women's movement, growth of socialist and communalist movements, growth of communalism, independence and partition of India. History and cultural heritage of Telangana, history and culture of ancient Telangana, Shatavahanas, Ikshvakus and Vishnukundins, rise and growth of Jainism and Buddhism, socio-cultural conditions, language, literature, art and architecture, medieval Telangana and the emergence of composite culture, Kakatiyas and Velama kingdoms and their contribution to socio-cultural development, literature, music, dance, art and architecture, Qutub Shahis and their contribution to Telugu literature, art and architecture, protest movements against Kakatiyas and Qutub Shahis, Sammaka Saraka and Sarvai Papanna, the establishment of Asafjahi dynasty, Salajang reforms and modernization of Telangana, socio-economic development under the Nizams, land tenures and social system, Jagirdars, Deshmukhs, etc., and Vetti British paramountcy and Nizam revolt of 1857 in Hyderabad, and the role of Terre Khan socio-economic development during the rule of 6th and 7th Nizams, growth of railways, transport and communication system, establishment of industries, educational institutions, monuments of Asaf Jahi period, socio-cultural awakening in Telangana, Andhra Saraswat Parishad, literary and library movements, establishment of Nizam Rashtra Andhra Jana Sangam, Andhra Mahasabha, social reform movements, Brahma Samaj, Arya Samaj and Adi Hindu and Dalit movements, role of Bhagya Reddy, Varma Andhra Mahila Sabha and the growth of women's movement, role of Hyderabad State Congress and Vande Mataram movement, people's movement against the Nizam's rule, Adivasi revolts, Ramji Gond and Kumaram Bhim, Telangana peasants armed struggle, role of Andhra Mahasabha and the communists, Majlis, Ittehadal, Muslimin Party, Rajakuras and Qasim Rajvi, police action and the end of Nizam rule, integration of Hyderabad state into the Indian Union. Third section, Geography of India and Telangana. India, physical setting, physiography, drainage, climate, mechanism of monsoon, effect of El Nino and La Nino, rainfall variability, floods and drought, soils, vegetation and wildlife degradation and conservation measures, major minerals and energy resources, distribution and conservation, energy crisis, role of non-conventional energy resources, marine resources, economic significance, EEZ, water resources, availability problems of interstate water sharing, conservation measures, agriculture and irrigation, major food and non-food crops, agroclimatic and regions, green revolution, recent trends in agriculture, major irrigation projects and command area development, industries, major industries, iron and steel, cotton textiles, cement, sugar, automobile, IT and food processing industries, localization factors, industrial corridors and economic development, transportation, means of transportation, role of road and rail networks in economic development, highways and express highways, major ports, changing trends and direction of India's trade, role of World Trade Organization, strategic location of India in the Indian Ocean, population, distribution growth, demographic characteristics, demographic dividend and transition, HDI, population problems and policies, urbanization process, spatial pattern, growth of megacities, problems of urban growth and policies, concept of smart cities, geographical extent of Hyderabad state and present Telangana state, physical setting, relief climate, rivers, soil, forest cover and wildlife distribution, depletion and conservation, minerals and energy resources, coal, iron and limestone distribution, thermal and hydropower projects, problems and prospects, agriculture, rain-fed dry land agriculture, drought-prone areas and mitigation measures, sources of irrigation, canals, tanks and wells, depletion of groundwater and its conservation, Mission Kakatiya, industries, cement, sugar, pharma, electronic, tourism, IT, ITIR, SEZs, handicrafts and household industries and their problems, road and rail networks, distribution and the role in economic development, population, distribution, growth, density, demographic characteristics like sex ratio, age, literacy, etc. Tribal population, distribution, problems of tribal areas and policies for tribal area development, urbanization in Telangana state, spatio-temporal changes, urban growth and migration, evolution and phases of urban growth of Hyderabad, transformation from historical to modern cosmopolitan megapolis, primacy of Hyderabad in Telangana state, city structure, industries and industrial estates, urban infrastructure and transport, ORR and metro problem, and planning role of GHMC and HUDA, Metropolitan Development Plan 2031, HMDA Hyderabad as a tourist center and global city. Paper 3. First part, Indian Society, Constitution and Governance. Indian Society, Structure, Issues and Social Movements. Indian Society, Salient Features, Unity and Diversity, Family, Marriage, Kinship, Caste, Tribe, Religion, Language, Rural and Urban Continuum, Multiculturalism, Social Exclusion and Vulnerable Groups, Scheduled Castes, Scheduled Tribes, Backward Classes, Minorities, Women, Children, Aged, Disabled, Social issues like poverty, unemployment, child labor, violence against women, regionalism, communalism and secularism, corruption, caste conflicts, problems of agricultural labor, urbanization, development and displacement, environmental degradation, sustainable development, population explosion, agrarian distress, migration. Social issues in Telangana, Vetti, Jogini and Devadasi system, girl child, fluorosis, child labor, migrant labor, child marriages. Social movements in Telangana, social policies and programs in India and Telangana, policies for women, children, aged and disabled, policies for SC, ST, BC and minorities, environmental policy, population policy, policy on education, policy on health, poverty alleviation programs, welfare schemes for SC, ST, BC, women, children, minorities, aged and disabled. Second section, Constitution of India. Evolution of Indian Constitution, role of the drafting committee, constitutional philosophy and preamble, salient features and basic structure, amendments, fundamental rights, nature and scope, expanding horizons of fundamental rights, enforceability against state and others, welfare state and distributive justice under the Constitution, directive principles of state policy, rule of law and fundamental duties, system of government, parliamentary system, central government, president, prime minister, council of ministers, parliament, powers and functions, state government, governor, chief minister and council of ministers, legislative, powers and functions, legislature, powers and functions, legislative principles, legislative privileges, judicial system in India, Supreme Court, High Court, administrative tribunals, subordinate judiciary, judicial review and judicial activism, independence of judiciary and judicial accountability, federal system, center-state relations, issues and challenges pertaining to the federal structure, local self-government, 73rd and 74th constitutional amendments for sharing of powers, Panchayati Raj and municipal institutions, resolution of interstate disputes with reference to water dispute challenges of implementation. Third section, Governance. Governance and good governance. E-governance, applications and models, governance at union level, cabinet secretariat, prime minister's office, central secretariat, ministries and departments, constitutional bodies, finance commission, election commission, UPSC, Comptroller and Auditor General of India, National Human Rights Commission, National Commission for SC, ST, Minorities and Women, Parliamentary Committees, Estimates Committee, Public Audits Committee, Committee on Public Undertakings, Governance at State and District levels, Secretariat and Directorates and their relationships, District Administration, Role of Collector, Institutions of rural and urban governance, powers and functions, systems for delivery of service, cooperative, State Finance Commission, devolution of powers and finances, issues and challenges, development corporations for SC, ST, BCs, minorities and disabled, welfare, control over administrative, legislative, executive and judicial control, programs, agencies and institutions working for the development of urban and rural areas, people-centered participatory development, poverty alleviation programs, women empowerment and inclusive growth, rights related to health, food security, education issues and challenges, debates on development and development processes, state and provision of services, state and market, involvement of civil society, community-based organizations and NGOs, self-help groups, charities and stakeholders, public-private partnerships, corporate social responsibility, ethics and values of administration, neutrality of civil services, committed bureaucracy, politician and civil servant relations, citizen charters, gender sensitization, transparency and accountability of administration, prevention of corruption in administration, Central Vigilance Commission, Central Bureau of Investigation, Lokpal, Lokyukta, ACB and Consumer Protection Mechanisms, application and impact of Right to Information Act 2005, administrative reforms. Paper 4, Economy and Development. Section 1, Indian Economy and Development. National income, concepts of measurement of national income, nominal and real income, structure and growth of Indian economy, sectoral trends in national income of India, poverty and unemployment, concepts of poverty, income-based poverty, non-income poverty, capability approach, human poverty index, measurement of poverty and trends in poverty, concepts, estimates and trends of unemployment, money and banking, money supply, structure of Indian banking and non-banking financial institutions, reforms in banking sector, regulations of credit by RBI, public finance, tax structure, central and state taxes, government expenditure in revenue and capital account, public debt, composition, internal and external debt, monetary policy, fiscal policy, union budget, budget analysis, planning in Indian economy, objectives, priorities, strategies, achievements of 5-year plans, 12th 5-year plan, inclusive growth, Niti Aayog, liberalization, privatization, globalization, features and implications. Section 2, Telangana economy. Telangana economy in Hyderabad state, agriculture, industry and trade. Telangana economy in United AP, 1956 to 2014. Deprivation and underdevelopment, structure and growth of Telangana economy. Sectoral trends in GSDP, per capita income, income inequalities and poverty, human resources, demographic structure and transition, demographic dividend, sex ratio, fertility rate, mortality rates, literacy and occupation structure, land reforms, first generation 1947 to 1970 and second generation land reforms 1972 onwards, abolition of intermediaries, Jamindari, Jagirdari and Inamdari, tenancy reforms, land ceiling, land alienation in scheduled areas, impact of land reforms, agriculture and allied sectors, trends in share of crop and allied sectors in GSDP, distribution of land holdings, trends in irrigation, distribution of land holdings, trends in irrigation, problems of dry land agriculture, dependence on agriculture, cropping pattern trends, trends in productivity, agricultural credit, extension and marketing, cooperatives and producer companies, industry and service sectors, industrial development, structure and growth of industrial sector, micro, small and medium enterprises sector, revival of Sikh industries, industrial infrastructure, power, industrial policy of Telangana, structure and growth of service sector, employment trends in industry and service sectors, information and communication technology, policy of Telangana. Section 3. Development and environmental problems. Environment versus development. Definition of environment, environmentalism, environmental protection policy, environmental policy instruments, natural resources, forest resources, commercialization of forests, forest acts versus forest dwellers, users, water, surface water and groundwater, competing demand for water, drinking, industrial and agriculture, land resources, competing uses of land, food, feed, fuel and fiber, mining and environment, sustainability of natural resources, ecosystems and biodiversity, ecology and ecosystem, food chains in ecosystems, typology of ecosystem, biodiversity and its conservation, types of biodiversity, threat to biodiversity, environment pollution and solid waste management, types of solid waste, factors affecting solid waste generation, impact of solid waste, recycling and reuse, global environment issues, climate change, global warming and its impact, sustainable development. Paper 5. Science and Technology and Data Interpretation. Section 1. The role and impact of science and technology, classical and emerging areas of science and technology, value addition by science and technology, current science and technology developments in India and importance of science and technology as an engine for national development, industrial development and urbanization, national policy of science and technology, changes in policy from time to time, technology missions, ICT, basics in computers, robotics, nanotechnology and communication, space program in India and its applications with special reference to industrial, agriculture and other rural development activities, INSAT, IRS systems, EDU SAT and Chandrayaan 1 and future program, application of space technology in India with references to education, agriculture and industry, climate change, floods, cyclone, tsunami, natural and man-made disaster management, energy resources, energy demands, Indian energy scenario, hydel, thermal and nuclear, importance of renewable resources like solar, wind, small, mini, micro, hydel, biomass, waste-based, geothermal, tidal and fuel cells, energy security, role of science and technology, biofuel cultivation and extraction. Section 2. Modern trends in application of knowledge of science. Crop science in India, characteristics of plants, forest species, medicinal aromatic plants, useful and harmful plants and utility for mankind, concepts of biotechnology and applications of genetic engineering and stem cell research, biotechnology in agriculture, biofertilizers, biopesticides, biofuels, tissue culture, cloning and environment, biotechnology in environmental cleanup process, food biotechnology, food safety and food quality standards, food laws and regulations, recent trends in organic farming and farm mechanization, safe drinking water, defluoridization and other techniques, microbial infections, introduction to bacterial, viral, protozoal and fungal infections, basic knowledge of infections caused by different groups of microorganisms like diarrhea, dysentery, cholera, tuberculosis, malaria, viral infections like HIV, encephalitis, chikungunya, bird flu, preventive measures during outbreaks, vaccines, introduction to immunity, fundamental concepts in vaccination and traditional methods of vaccine production of DPT and rabies vaccine, production of modern vaccines, production of hepatitis vaccine. Section 3. Data interpretation and problem solving. Data analysis, analytical interpretation of statistical data, study of graphs and charts, bar graphs, line graphs, pie charts and drawing conclusions, problems based on tabular and diagrammatical data, problems based on probability, logical reasoning, analytical and mental ability, quantitative aptitude, number sequences, series, averages, number systems, ratio and proportion, profit and loss, time and work, speed, time, distance, simple interest, analytical and critical reasoning, decision making and problem solving. A duly structured situation will be presented to the candidates and they will be asked to analyze and suggest their own solution to the problem arising out of the situations. Paper 6. Telangana Movement and the State Formation. Section 1. The Idea of Telangana, 1948 to 1970. Historical background. Telangana as a distinctive cultural unit in Hyderabad, princely state, its geographical, cultural, socio-political and economic features. People of Telangana, caste, tribes, religion, arts, crafts, language, dialects, fairs, festivals and important places in Telangana. Administration in Hyderabad, princely state and administrative reforms of Salajang and origins of the issue of mulkis, non-mulkis, employment and civil service rulers under Mir Usman Ali Khan, 7th Nizam's Farman of 1919 and definition of mulki, establishment of Nizam subjects, league known as Mulki League 1935 and its significance, merger of Hyderabad state into Indian Union in 1948, employment policies under military rule and Velodi 1948 to 1952, violation of Mulki rules and its implications. Hyderabad state in independent India. Formation of popular ministry under Urgula Ramakrishna Rao and 1952 Mulki agitation, demand for employment of local people and city college incident, its importance. Justice Jagan Mohan Reddy Committee Report 1953, initial debates and demand for Telangana state, reasons for the formation of states reorganization committee under Fazal Ali in 1953, main provisions and recommendations of SRC, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar views on SRC and smaller states. Formation of Andhra Pradesh 1956, Gentleman's Agreement, its provision and recommendations, Telangana Regional Committee composition and functions and performance, violation of safeguards, mitigation from coastal Andhra region and its consequences, post-1970 development scenario in Telangana, agriculture, irrigation, power, education, employment, medical and health, etc., violation of employment and service rules, origins of Telangana, agitation protest in Kottagudem and other places, forced on to death by Ravindranath, 1969 agitation for separate Telangana, role of intellectuals, students, employees in Jai Telangana movement, formation of Telangana Praja Samiti and course of movement, the spread of Telangana movement, major events, leaders and personalities, all party accord, Go 36, suppression of Telangana movement and its consequences, the 8-point and 5-point formulas implications. Section 2, mobilization phase 1971 to 1990, court judgments on Mulki rules, Jai Andhra movement and its consequences, 6-point formula 1973 and its provisions. Article 371D, presidential rule, presidential order, 1975 officers, Jayabharat Reddy, committee report, GO 610, 1985, its provisions and violations. Reaction and representation of Telangana employees, rise and spread of Naxalite movement, causes and consequences, anti-landlord struggles in Jagityala Sirisilla, North Telangana, Raitu Kuli Sangams, alienation of tribal lands and Adivasi residents, Jal, Jangal and Jamin, rise of regional parties in 1980s and changes in the political, socio-economic and cultural fabric of Telangana, notation of Telugu Jati and suppression of Telangana identity, expansion of new economy in Hyderabad and other parts of Telangana, real estate, contracts, finance companies, film, media and entertainment industry, corporate education and hospitals, etc., dominant culture and its implications for Telangana self-respect, dialect, language and culture, liberalization, privatization policies in 1990s and their consequences, emergence of regional disparities and imbalances in political power, administration, education, employment, agrarian crisis and a decline of handicrafts in Telangana and its impact on Telangana society and economy, quest for Telangana identity, intellectual discussions and debates, political and ideological efforts, growth of popular unrest against regional disparities, discrimination and underdevelopment of Telangana. Section 3, towards formation of Telangana state, 1991 to 2014. Public awakening and intellectual reaction against discrimination, formation of civil society organization, articulation of separate Telangana identity. Initial organization raised the issues of separate Telangana, Telangana Information Trust, Telangana Aikya Vedika, Bhuvanagiri Sabha, Telangana Janasabha, Telangana Mahasabha, Warangal Declaration, Telangana Vidyavantula Vedika, etc. Efforts of Telangana Congress and BJP in highlighting the issue. Establishment of Telangana Rashtra Samiti in 2001. Political realignment and electoral alliances in 2004 and latter phase of Telangana movement. TRS in UPA. Girgliani Committee, Telangana Employees Joint Action Committee, Pranab Mukherjee Committee, 2009, Elections Alliance Telangana in election manifestos, the agitation against Hyderabad as free zone, the demand for separate statehood, passed on to death by K. Chandrasekhar Rao, formation of Political Joint Action Committee 2009, role of political parties like TRS, Congress, BJP, left parties, TDP, MIM and other political parties such as Telangana Praja Front, Telangana United Front, etc., Dalit Bahujan Sangams and grassroots movements organizations, other joint action committees and popular protests, suicides for the cause of Telangana, cultural revivalism in Telangana, other symbolic expressions in Telangana movement, literary forms, performing arts and other cultural expressions, writers, poets, singers, intellectuals, artists, journalists, students, employees, advocates, doctors, NRIs, women, civil society groups, organized and unorganized sectors, castes, communities and other social groups in transforming the agitation into a mass movement, intensification of movement, forms of protest and major events, Sakala Janula Samme, non-cooperation movement, Million March, etc., parliamentary process, UPA government stand on Telangana, all-party meeting, Anthony Committee, statement on Telangana by Central Home Minister, Sri Krishna Committee report and its recommendations, AP Assembly and parliamentary proceedings on Telangana, declaration of Telangana state in Parliament, Andhra Pradesh State Reorganization Act 2014, elections and victory of Telangana Rashtra Samiti and the first government of Telangana state.